When I was a kid, I quickly got hooked on handheld gaming, and to this day, it still brings a certain joy and comfort to me, to the point where I went out and probably paid too much money for this thing called an analog pocket to play my physical games on for the Game Boy and Game Boy Advance. But it looks a little bit better, and at least we can stream those on the channel now. There's just a cozy, chill vibe to lounging on the couch, farming the Elite Four for cash, or that nice feeling of whipping out a console on a long car ride on something that isn't an all-encompassing hellhole where you actually get nothing done and waste all of your time like a cellular phone. The Game Boy Color is what got the ball rolling for me. I was a big Pokemon boy. That's right, a roly-poly Pokeboy. That and Mario were really the only two games I played on the Game Boy Color. I had this nice green one, but I always envied people who had that see-through purple. Man, that one was cool. I think I got that in about second grade, a few years after it came out. And then I played that happily until the Game Boy Advance SP came out. I skipped right over the Game Boy Advance. And on that handheld, I can remember playing a lot of backyard football and baseball. Like I've said before on the channel, heavily into sports games growing up. We'll get to the GOATs on stream though, don't worry. I never got into the Nintendo DS or DS Lite stuff either. My sister had one of them, and I think I can remember her playing a game called Nintendogs on it. Not my cup of tea, but, you know, whatever floats your boat. And not long around the corner, though, after the DS launched in 2004, Sony dropped the PlayStation Portable in 2005, and man, oh man, was that my jam. And I just happened to stumble upon my childhood PSP, and thus opening the floodgate of memories leading to this video. One thing that's cool about reminiscing on these old handhelds is because you could play them everywhere, not only do you have a set of games that you associate with the system, but you also associate them with locations. For example, as soon as I see a Game Boy Color, I'm instantly reminded of the times my friends and I would be on recess showing off our cool Pokemon at school. It was cool to go out in the world and be social with these and make real-life connections while gaming. Remember link cables for the Game Boy? Sheesh. It actually almost brought a tear to my eye when I was cleaning this thing and I noticed these dents in the top of the handheld, and I could immediately remember where they came from. I would take this fine tool to my family's yearly beach trip, and one of the years, I want to say probably 2006, I dropped the PSP while crossing the road holding a beach chair, and I can remember it like yesterday as fear swept through my body that I might actually have to expose my pasty skin to the sun and swim because my PSP bit the dust. But luckily, the thing is kind of tanky and it took it like a champ. Thus, whenever I think of a PSP, I think of the beach, and I get reminded not only of the games I played, but to the places I went with it. So, found this bad boy in a box that I got from the basement of my childhood house that was sold a few years ago. And a couple of weeks ago, I decided to actually go through the said box, and I found it, staring at me like a lost puppy I let run away, but ready to forgive me and accept me back with open arms. Now, this thing is cooked. I mean, this is about 15 years or more of basement schmutz. So, you know, I'm recording this part of the video before I actually clean it, so with you guys, so let's hope it all comes off. And last time I remember playing this was maybe 2011-ish, messing around on it before getting into college, but the brunt of the use definitely was about the 2006 to 2008-ish period. I mean, this thing's a gaming relic at this point. I'll be happy if it turns on, you know, just to see the home screen again. It launched the year the Nolan Batman trilogy started. But, I mean, Revenge of the Sith came out the year it released before Star Wars was a Disney poop pile. I'm basically telling you I'm becoming a pile of dirt. You're probably going to feel a little more pain with this, but the games I remember playing on this thing were Tiger Woods Golf, MVP Baseball, World Tour Soccer 2006, and Monster Hunter Freedom 2, the second one. I know, this is an insane disservice to the immense library of 1,370 games that were on the thing over a 10-year period, but hey, give me some credit for MVP Baseball at least. The one with Manny Ramirez on the front. That was one of the best baseball games I've ever played besides Slugfest with Jim Edmonds on the cover. I have no idea where those games are. Maybe the rats got them over the years or my sister sold them for lunch money. I have no idea. Funny enough, though, I popped open this slick UMD tray and Final Fantasy popped out. I don't even remember playing it, honestly. I do remember getting it, but I don't think I played this game. The game list for the PSP is incredible. Grand Theft Auto, Liberty City Stories, Ratchet and Clank, Size Matters, Daxter, God of War, Chains of Olympus, God Eater, Final Fantasy games, Star Wars Battlefront 2. I mean, this thing had some heavy hitters. I will definitely be picking some of these up to play on my lunch break at my shitty job. We just have to hope that my PSP works and I don't need to go buying a new one to play some of these games I missed. But that leads me to something I never knew. You have quite a few options and models when picking this thing up. You got the PSP 1000, which is the OG model that I have, but then in 2007, a 2000 model came out, and a 3000 model in 2008. These had upgraded the RAM from 32 megabytes to 64 megabytes, and also the 3000 added a microphone. Kind of wild. And then in 2009, the PSP Go released, which is probably my favorite looking of the bunch. It reminds me of my favorite phone back in the day, the Pantech Duo, but I won't be getting one of these because not having the UMD disk drive is kind of a letdown for me. I like having physical things. I guess the appeal of this was to be more on the go, hence the name, and just download games from the PlayStation Network, so it's a smaller device without that tray. And then finally we have the PSP Street, which launched in 2011, and it looks-wise, it's still pretty nice. Has a nice matte finish look to it that sets it apart from the OG. However, like the PSP Go, it does not have a removable battery. So you have some options to get into PlayStation Portable gaming if you want to get stuck in the past like me. But alright, let's see if this thing turns on. Kind of a moment of truth situation here. Got it clean enough for now, but that dirt is deep, but I'm going to be sad if this doesn't work. Ooh, we got some action. Felt vibrating, we got the light, we got the screen. I'm going to take the disc out maybe. For the time being. Oh man. Set the time and date. Wait, I have a memory stick in here? I forgot to even check for that. Huh, I do. Pretty sweet. Listen to that sound. Alright, now let's see if it reads the disc. I'm guessing that down there means it's reading. It's doing a lot of spinning back there. It looks like we might be out of luck. This thing still feels so good in the hand, like it's the perfect size. Ooh, yeah. I used to always go with the red. Ooh. Well, at least it turned on. Might not be reading the disc, but that's okay. Maybe I'll look into some other options into what to do with this thing if the disc reader isn't working, or if there's a way to fix it. We'll have to. Can you hear the spinning? Let me tell you, immediately the PSP feels great in the hand. It's not a honker like the Switch or the Steam Deck is today. It's actually smaller than my phone and seems easier to work with. I like that. The buttons have a satisfying sound. We have one analog type stick that actually moves nice and has a good level of resistance. We got the home button, volume controls right on the main front here. And this little button that controls screen brightness instead of having to go into a menu. Nice. And the musical note is, which if I recall correctly, changed the type of sound coming from the handheld. So you could switch it up depending on if you're watching a movie, listening to music, or playing a game, things like that. Also, the power button had this nice hold feature, so if you were about to get caught with it at school, you could just slide that on and throw it in your pocket quick. Be safe from unwanted button presses and then go back to not paying attention again. I mean, Sony just knocked it out of the park with this one. I forgot how much I loved this thing. Luckily, the past always creeps back up, and it found me again. I just want to go lay under a tree and play Grand Theft Auto with this. I need to figure out how to get a game to work on it, or buy a new one, I guess. But that about wraps it up, boys. I hope you enjoyed the video. Talk about my favorite handheld growing up. Maybe this will finally give me the drive to go out and get the PS Vita and go down that rabbit hole. You want to talk retro games with us in the stream? We go live at 9 p.m. Eastern, playing old games. So until next time, guys, take care and peace.